My name is Alejandro Melecio. I've been a narrator for the Spanish music and the spoken word for about just over 2 years. And I mean, an email went out from the church, and it didn't say what it was for. They just said, if you want to audition for a role, we're looking for this type of profile of talent. And so I submitted it. Aside from that, I'm a singer-songwriter, performer. I've done this for over, for the last, 15 years. And so I do a yearly Latin show here at the conference center called Light of the Nations. I perform there. And I also do voiceover, dubbings, live interpretation. So I think I've been a little bit on the radar of some of the people that were looking, and so, but I'm sure all of that helped. So I don't know exactly. Is that one of those things you look for? It kind of finds you, and it worked out, and I'm just glad to be here. As a performer, right? I always considered myself, well, I'm a singer-songwriter. I can do a show. I have a band, but doing the narration part and the storytelling has been very unique and in very good ways for me. Reading, understanding, internalizing the stories so that I can communicate them better, and then the choir, the angelic voices, just the music is unbelievable. It's an interesting dynamic. Mac Wilberg said, we have a recipe. We don't want to deviate very much from that. But I can see why he says that. It really is powerful. And when you see it here live, you can see it. Hopefully it comes across also in, on screen. Truly is wonderful and impactful. I think President Levitt also mentioned this earlier, and I couldn't agree more. I think the messages that are shared are needed. If I could sum it up in one word, is hope, right? I feel as though personally that's the message, right? Hope in you, who you are, your future, the things that you can do. And so I love that. And I think the Spanish-speaking community, any community, but in my case right now, we're doing this in Spanish. I think it's our audience is looking for these types of messages, and there just aren't very many out there. And so I feel privileged to be able to be a part of that and bring wonderful music, wonderful messages, and now available on live TV. Recently, it was announced Telmundo is broadcasting every week in Spanish, and then it's all over South America on the internet, on radio and other channels. And so I don't think we can grasp the impact or the reach that we're having, but based on some preliminary and maybe not official numbers, it looks like it's impacting a lot of people in the millions. And so that's very satisfying for sure. Oh, that's a hard question. And I'm going to go with probably the cliche answer, but I got to be with you till we meet again. It's not only a great hymn, but when you hear the choir sing that in Spanish, it just hits differently for me. And they sing, I've heard them sing it many, many times, but especially at those live concerts, it just feels different, and it does something to people. And so I love that. I love experiencing that for sure. Well, that's a great question. I would say that's my favorite hymn that the choir sings. I know it's hard to say that. Honestly, there are so many good ones. There's so many wonderful, great arrangements of hymns that I love. But on the spot right here, I'm just going to say that is probably my favorite hymn. Yeah. Peace. Well, thank you for the question. Jesus Christ is the source of all hope, right? And so it's wonderful to be reminded of that. We need reminders. That's why there's repetition in all the things that we do in the church. And it's interesting, there's parallels here, right? And to me, Jesus Christ being the source of all hope, there's no other place to find true hope. And that's what I've learned. I've learned that if I want to feel hope, that's my source. And that's a sure source, and it works every time, and I can access that via music. I can access that in various ways, but that's one thing that's been solidified in my testimony. that God is real, that He loves us, and that He wants us to be happy and feel hope. Bueno, para todos nuestra audiencia que habla español, los quiero invitar a que nos acompañen. Si no han descubierto este programa, se transmite todas las semanas por Telemundo en español, y también están grabados los mensajes, se pueden acceder vía YouTube y otras maneras. Pero mi mensaje es que puedan escucharlos, ser parte y compartirlos. Y nos pueden dejar saber sus impresiones y sus comentarios, sus sugerencias. Mencionaba hace unos momentos la presidencia del coro, que ellos reciben, ¿no?, muchas cartas y muchas experiencias de personas, y creo que eso enriquece mucho al programa, enriquece mucho lo que nosotros podemos después brindar de regreso a todas las personas, y poder, espero, pues abordar los temas y los puntos que son importantes para las personas.